So today we're making scones, and these are made using the rubbing in method, which is the same basic method you would have used when you made fruit crumble. So first of all, sieve the flour into your mixing bowl, and in with the self-raising flour there is a little pinch of salt. So you're going to sieve that in, and then already prepared then we have some margarine that's just been cut into small chunks because that makes it easier when you rub it in. There's some sugar, we have some baking powder, and then we have some milk and some fresh lemon. The reason for the milk with the fresh lemon is this makes the milk a little bit acidic, and so it's very similar then to buttermilk. And we're going to add this into our scones. The buttermilk is a little bit acidic, and so that reacts then with the baking powder, which is alkaline, and it will help your scones to raise more. Put your margarine into your flour, and then just give that a little mix around with your palette knife to coat it in the flour so that it doesn't stick to your fingers. And then you're going to use your fingertips just to rub the margarine and flour between your fingertips until it looks like breadcrumbs, or till it looks like fine sand. So you don't want to overwork it, because otherwise your mixture will start to go really sticky and soft and the margarine will melt. So as you rub in, keep going right down to the bottom of the bowl. That's it, picking up the flour, turning it over, and that gets a bit more air into the mixture. And then just rub in that margarine between your fingertips until it looks like breadcrumbs. So now your mixture looks like fine breadcrumbs. You'll see that it looks quite sandy and it's a bit more of a yellowy creamy colour now. So next you need to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So that's a level teaspoon, not a heap teaspoon. In it goes. And you're going to add in your sugar that's already been measured out and pour that in. And then you're going to mix that all around with the palette knife. So give it a mix around just to mix that flour and fat together with the sugar and the baking powder. And then you're going to make a well in the centre using your palette knife. And then you're going to pour in the milk that you mixed with the lemon juice. You'll notice that the milk actually looks slightly curdled. It's almost a little bit like yogurt, but that's perfectly fine and that's how it's meant to be. So pour it all into your mixture and then give that a good mix around with the palette knife. And then that should all be absorbed into your floury mixture and then come together to form a dough. It might seem a little bit sticky at first, but that doesn't matter, just so long as it's all combined together. So now your mixture has come together to form a dough. You can use your hands now to take it out of the bowl, pop it on the work surface that you've lightly floured, so not too much, and just move your bowl out of the way. And then you're just going to gently knead it by just turning it over a few times. If you turn it over in the flour, it shouldn't then stick to your hands. And the idea is we just want to make this dough a little bit smoother. So just do that a couple of times, dipping it in the flour as you go to stop it being too sticky. So now your dough is smoother. You make it into a round about 4 centimetres deep, about the thickness or the depth of the cutter that you're going to use, because we want these scones to be nice and thick, because they're going to rise even more in the oven, and then they'll be perfect for cutting in half and spreading with jam and cream. So now take your cutter and push straight down into the scone mixture, right down to the bottom until you hit the work surface, and then you've got to try not to twist your cutter because that spoils the shape. So you may need to use your palette knife just to separate your dough round from the sides until you've got a scone cut out. So possibly try and drag the cutter, that's it. Separate the dough out, and then you may need to slide the palette knife underneath and then pop it onto your baking tray and see if you can push it through. That's it, perfect. And then take the rest of your dough, bring it back together, and then repeat until you've used up all the dough. Now brush the tops of the scones with some milk, or you could use beaten egg if you had egg to use up, and that's just going to give them a nice golden brown colour, and then they're going to bake in a hot oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. And this is how they look when they come out of the oven. So lovely, well risen scones, nice and golden brown, perfect to serve warm with some butter or some jam and cream.